Imagine the scene, a dead pope in the dock. The air is thick with tension, the atmosphere almost suffocating. The room is dimly lit with shadows dancing on the walls, creating an eerie and unsettling ambience. Imagine a courtroom unlike any other. The air is thick with incense and dread. The scent of burning herbs mingles with the palpable fear and curiosity of those present. The room is filled with a sense of foreboding, as if the very walls are whispering secrets of the past. Before a stunned audience, a corpse sits propped on a throne. The onlookers, dressed in their finest medieval attire, can hardly believe their eyes. Gasps of shock and murmurs of disbelief ripple through the crowd as they witness this macabre spectacle. This, my friends, was no ordinary trial. This was the Cadaver Synod, a bizarre and macabre event that shocked even the most hardened observers of the medieval world. The very idea of putting a dead pope on trial was both unprecedented and deeply disturbing. In 897 AD, in the heart of Rome, a dead pope stood accused by his living successor. The trial was a spectacle of power and vengeance, a dramatic confrontation that would leave an indelible mark on history. The very notion seems like something out of a Gothic horror. Yet this was no work of fiction. It was a chilling reality, a surreal and grotesque display of the lengths to which men would go to assert their dominance and settle old scores. It was a raw and brutal display of political theatre, a testament to the lengths men would go to secure power in an era rife with intrigue and violence. The trial was not just about justice, it was about sending a message, about demonstrating the absolute power of the living over the dead. The trial of Pope Formosus, even centuries later, continues to fascinate and repel in equal measure. It is a story that has been told and retold, each time evoking a sense of horror and disbelief at the cruelty and absurdity of the event. It stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of power and the depths of human cruelty. The Cadaver Synod is a haunting chapter in history, a chilling example of how far individuals will go to maintain control and exact revenge even beyond the grave. To understand this bizarre event, we must journey back to the late 9th century. The papacy, nominally the spiritual heart of Christendom, was mired in political turmoil. Rival factions within Italy and across Europe vied for control of this prestigious and influential position. Popes were installed and deposed with alarming regularity, often meeting untimely ends. Into this viper's nest stepped Formosus, a man of considerable intellect and ambition. His papacy, though short-lived, was marked by controversy. He crowned a new Holy Roman Emperor, alienating supporters of the previous ruler. His attempts at reform within the church further antagonized powerful factions. By the time of his death, in 896 AD, Formosus had made many enemies. Little did he know his trials were far from over. At the heart of this drama were two popes, one dead, one very much alive. Pope Formosus, the defendant, was no stranger to controversy, even in life. His pontificate was marked by political maneuvering and accusations of corruption. Now, exhumed and propped up in the papal court, he was a silent participant in his own posthumous trial. His accuser, Pope Stephen VI, cut a very different figure. Driven by ambition and perhaps a degree of paranoia, he viewed Formosus's legacy as a threat to his own legitimacy. Stephen's motivations, though complex, were rooted in the desire to consolidate his own power and eradicate any challenge to his authority. Surrounding these two figures was a cast of cardinals, bishops, and political operatives, each with their own agendas and ambitions. In January 897 AD, the Basilica of St. John Lateran in Rome bore witness to a spectacle unlike any other. The grand halls, usually filled with the solemnity of prayer, were now the stage for an unprecedented event. The macabre trial commenced with Pope Stephen VI presiding, his face a mask of righteous fury. His eyes burned with a fervor that seemed almost unholy, driven by a desire for retribution. Before him, propped on a throne, sat the decaying corpse of his predecessor, Pope Formosus. The body, exhumed from its resting place, was dressed in papal vestments, a grotesque parody of its former glory. The air was thick with the stench of death and the murmurings of horrified onlookers. The spectators, a mix of clergy and laity, could scarcely believe the scene unfolding before their eyes. A deacon was appointed to answer for the deceased pope, his voice trembling as he issued feeble defenses against Stephen's accusations. Each word he spoke seemed to hang in the air, heavy with the weight of the absurdity of the situation. The charges were read aloud, a litany of transgressions ranging from perjury to violating church law. The list seemed endless, each accusation more damning than the last. Formosus, of course, remained silent, his lifeless eyes staring blankly ahead. The corpse, a mere puppet in this grotesque drama, could offer no defense. The trial was a farce, a gruesome piece of political theatre orchestrated to solidify Stephen's grip on power. It was a chilling reminder of the lengths to which men would go to secure their authority, even if it meant desecrating the dead. Section 5. Charges and testimonies. What were Formosus's alleged crimes? The charges levied against Formosus were numerous and largely politically motivated. Stephen accused him of illegally obtaining the papacy, simony, and breaking his oath as a bishop. He was even accused of continuing to serve as bishop while holding the papacy. Witnesses, likely coerced, came forward to testify against the deceased pope. Their testimonies painted a picture of Formosus as a corrupt and power-hungry individual unfit to hold the holy office. The trial, however, lacked any semblance of fairness or justice. It was a show trial designed to humiliate Formosus and erase his legacy from the annals of history. Section 6. A guilty verdict. The trial's shocking conclusion and gruesome aftermath. The outcome of the trial was a foregone conclusion. After a day of staged accusations and forced confessions, Formosus was declared guilty of all charges. His papacy was declared null and void, his decrees were annulled, and his name was struck from the records. Yet Stephen's thirst for vengeance was far from quenched. He ordered the corpse to be stripped of its papal vestments, 3 fingers of its right hand chopped off, and the body dragged through the streets of Rome. Finally, it was dumped into the Tiber River, a final act of humiliation for the deceased pope and a stark warning to any who dared to challenge Stephen's authority. Section 7. Motivations and power plays. Unraveling the reasons behind the synod. The Cadaver Synod was a spectacle that shocked even the most cynical observers of the time. Why go through such a macabre charade? The answer lies in the complex web of power, ambition, and personal vendettas that characterized the late 9th century papacy. Stephen's motivations were multifaceted. By discrediting Formosus, he aimed to legitimize his own claim to the papal throne, which had been secured under questionable circumstances. Furthermore, Formosus had been closely aligned with a rival political faction, and by destroying his predecessor's reputation, Stephen aimed to weaken his opponents. Section 8. Aftermath and repercussions. The Cadaver Synod's impact on the papacy. The Cadaver Synod, far from consolidating Stephen's grip on power, backfired spectacularly. The sheer brutality of the event, particularly the desecration of Formosus's corpse, sent shockwaves throughout Christendom. Public opinion turned against Stephen, who was soon deposed and imprisoned by his enemies. Though Formosus was later rehabilitated by subsequent popes, the Cadaver Synod cast a long shadow over the papacy. It served as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the depths of depravity to which religious institutions could sink when entangled in secular power struggles. Cadaver Synod, though a shocking and isolated event, speaks to broader themes in medieval history. It highlights the fragility of power and the lengths to which individuals would go to secure and maintain it. The trial was a testament to the brutal realities of political life in an era when violence and intimidation were often favored over diplomacy and reason. Furthermore, the event underscores the close relationship between religious and secular authority in medieval Europe. The papacy, though a spiritual institution, was deeply embroiled in the political machinations of the time. The Cadaver Synod serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us of the dangers of allowing temporal power to corrupt spiritual authority. Section 10. Conclusion. The echoes of the Cadaver Synod in history and imagination are profound and far-reaching. The Cadaver Synod, a bizarre footnote in the annals of history, continues to fascinate and repel us centuries later. This grotesque spectacle, where a deceased pope was exhumed and put on trial, remains one of the most surreal episodes in the chronicles of the Church. It is a stark reminder of the human capacity for cruelty, even in the name of religion. The trial was not just an act of vengeance, but a demonstration of the lengths to which individuals will go to assert their dominance and control. The image of a dead pope on trial, judged by his living successor, has become a potent symbol of the excesses and absurdities of power. It underscores the fragile nature of authority and the extreme measures taken to maintain it. The event serves as a reminder that history is not always a linear progression towards enlightenment. Instead, it is often a series of regressions and advancements, a complex tapestry woven with both light and dark threads. It is a messy, often brutal affair, punctuated by moments of both great achievement and shocking depravity. The Cadaver Synod exemplifies this duality, highlighting the heights of human ambition and the depths of human folly. The Cadaver Synod, with all its macabre absurdity, forces us to confront the darker side of human nature and the enduring allure of power. It challenges us to reflect on the lengths to which we might go in the pursuit of authority and the moral compromises we are willing to make.